All right, good morning, everybody. Yes, it is raining, and yes, it's going to continue to rain. Isn't that fantastic? I can't believe that I'm saying that that's great news. After what we've been through here in Barrie, I know I kind of alluded to this yesterday, but it is just awesome. It's awesome. Misty, rainy, damp. Hopefully your well is, if you have one, is filling back up. I've seen so many people that are bringing the big water containers over to some of the springs on 302 and filling them up. I hope that you haven't gone dry, and I hope that you're doing okay. Fly on the Wall Productions bringing you the Aired Out podcast on this damp and rainy 25th day of the month. Live on Facebook and YouTube. We're streamed everywhere you get your podcasts, and we're on the web at airedoutvt.com. Logan Luce with us this morning, and he's all worked up.
Good morning, JD. We are locked and loaded. Welcome, everybody. It is Thursday night football, a rivalry between the Seattle Seahawks and the Cardinals. Seattle is looking defensively amazing. They're coming off a hot game against both the Saints and the Steelers, but an absolute beatdown that we gave the Saints. Seahawks could definitely pick up on offense, though. Sam Darnold is doing great, but, run game could be a lot better. Definitely could look for some more production on people like Cooper Kupp. Also, hoping to have Jake Bobo return soon. Definitely have some depth in that wide receiver and offense in general. Everything else for Seattle's going fantastic. Cardinals, on the other hand, are also looking amazing. They're 3-0. I definitely wouldn't say, though, compared to Seattle, they definitely don't have, explosive numbers. So honestly, even though they are undefeated currently, I just think that Seattle definitely still has the upper hand coming into this game after their last two games. It could go either way, honestly, but offensively though, Cardinals look great. Kyle Murray is having a beautiful season after honestly having, up until draft point, he hasn't been all that. So I think this year will really decide whether or not he belongs in, Arizona or not. And so with that being said, thank you again, JD. Thank you to everybody listening. Also, before I head out, don't forget to check me out on Saturdays, the Athletics podcast. Absolutely flaming, firing. I'm shooting thunder over there. Anyway, have a good morning, everybody. Peace out.
That's a guy that is so worked up about football right now. Logan Luce, Saturday morning, he'll be with us right around 10 o'clock, 10:30. Can't remember. It's one of those. But tune in. Do watch. Only a few days left in the regular Major League Baseball season. I know that Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh had an amazing night last night. Wow. Incredible homers. Rain in 65 today, says the National Weather Service. Rain in 58 tonight. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and around 75. Looks like similar on Saturday, partly cloudy, 72 if you got plans. And Sunday, look at this, partly cloudy and 79 degrees. Right next to me, let's take you to the couch. It is John Biondolillo. Good morning, sir. How the heck are you?
Good morning. I'm great.
Man, I'm so glad to see you. I don't see you enough. Last time I saw you, we were, of course, talking about real estate. And I know that some people are like, real estate? But you know what? There's some really exciting stuff going on here in Central Vermont. There really is.
There is. No, we should see each other more often since I'm right down the street.
Right across the street. I know. Before we even begin, I want to say this. It is impossible to have a successful business, no matter who you are, where you are, what you do, without the right people behind you. And if you don't have them, you're not going to do well, no matter what you do. You have a team over at BCK Real Estate who is just polished and I might even say perfect. All of them. Let's give a shout out to some of your team members over there.
Sure.
We have, of course, Linda Willett, who's always watching what you're doing and always watching what I'm doing here, too.
No, and she is a up-and-coming top agent in Central Vermont right now. She's on fire.
Yeah. She's really paying attention to what's going on.
Yep.
I mean, she lives it and breathes it every day. Richard Ivey,
Yep, Rich has got a new listing on 27 Franklin Street that's awesome. 275, 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Dave Jameson.
Dave's forgotten more about land than most people ever knew. I mean, he's just amazing when it comes to analyzing large parcels of land.
Michael Calcani.
Michael has a vast experience in a lot of different fields and the last several years in real estate, and he just has a common sense, no nonsense business approach and gets things done.
Powerhouse Butch Churchill.
Butch is our Iron Man. Butch is like Cal Ripken. He shows up every day.
Great people, though. Really.
Yeah, and then you got Cheryl Davison, who's kind of the glue that holds it all together. So,
when you walk through the doors at BCK Real Estate, what can you expect? First of all, you're going to be greeted.
Well, you're going to be greeted by Lily, our black lab that thinks she's a German Shepherd sometimes.
She owns the place. Literally, she owns 86 North Main Street.
She does. I took a Spalding High School blanket. We put it on the couch now because she's decided that's her place to sit. So, yeah.
There might be some, but not much, generally full of love.
Oh, yeah. If you're a man with a hat and beard, sometimes she gets a little worked up, but she's wagging her tail while she's barking at you.
Yes, exactly. And then Cheryl is going to be right there.
Yep.
And I have said this to you before, and I'll say it again. I'm sure that you've had people come through the doors with some questions that they might feel are dumb questions. I don't know if this is what I should be doing right now. I'm looking at maybe getting into a house. I have no idea whether or not my credit's good enough for any of this. How can I get out of the rental that I'm in? What incentives are there for me as a first-time home buyer? You get questions like that?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I mean, we help people navigate through the process and connect them with lenders and other, people help them clean their house out if they're, like if it's an estate sale or something like that. I deal with a lot of seniors, and sometimes they're shocked because a lot of times I'll tell them the best thing they can do is stay in their house and hire someone to clean the pool or, hire someone to come in and do the things that they have trouble doing, close up the upstairs, stay on the first floor. And, it sounds, they kind of expect me to try and sell them on buying a different home and listing their home, but sometimes that's not the best thing for them. And,
sure.
And I'm in this for the long game, so I want to give you the best advice I can.
Folks, this time every year, homeowners that are trying to make a decision or maybe plan to make a move are faced with the decision, I really wanted to get the house on the market this spring or this summer. Summer got away from me. We spent too much time in the boat or at the camp or hiking or whatever, and all of a sudden, it's fall. Should I wait out the winter?
I wouldn't. I mean, September and October are two of the very best months for sales. Admittedly, it does slow down between like the 15th of November and January 1st. Ironically, the highest sale prices per square foot are the things that go under contract in January, February, March.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah, less competition.
I've heard you say that, think about this. Your home, what it is, forget about the season. Your home could be the number one item on someone's wish list where they see it and they're like, that's the home I want. I want to be in there by the time the grass is growing. So,
right.
Yeah. How's the market right now? I just heard recently that the national snapshot is that new home sales are up 20.5% across America. What's happening with the market right now? Is it are we on you said you just told me when you came through the door that it's the best it's been in 7 years?
It's the most balanced market I've seen in 7 years. And I
Wow.
love a balanced market because everybody has to be reasonable. Nobody really has the upper hand. Certainly it's still more of a seller's market in the entry level and middle part of the market. The upper part of the market is probably more of a buyer's market right now, but overall it's pretty balanced. So nobody can dictate the terms. Nobody can, draw too hard a line in the sand. It's refreshing for me. And there's a lot of agents I talk to that, especially from other companies, that they haven't been through it before, so they don't know what to think of it. But I like it. I mean, there's so many opportunities right now for both buyers and sellers. Sellers can sell with confidence because prices are stable, and buyers have more inventory to choose from. Interest rates have just come down. I mean, the 30-year mortgage is now at 6.25. If you get a 15-year, it's like 5.7, and those are predicted to come down more, which for us in central Vermont, it's more important than ever because the home prices have gone up significantly, certainly outpaced most people's income. So for rates to come down gives them more buying power. I mean, frankly, it's going to get some people back in the market that have had to be on the sidelines.
Every time. Literally every single time I speak with you publicly, I either get text messages or I get live comments complaining about the folks from down country who come up to Vermont, buy up, and try to flip at a price that is not reachable for the majority of Vermonters. That Vermonters are getting priced out of their own states. I have to ask you about that again because it's something that I know that I'm going to be asked or I'm going to see a comment on this.
I mean, Central Vermont in particular has always been a difficult market to flip in because the prices were kind of capped. They weren't really that high. During COVID, that certainly changed. People were able to flip things. I see that not so much as an issue right now because prices are stable. What's an issue for us in Central Vermont, and it's just supply and demand, is that the prices in Chittenden County are so high, people are willing to drive 45 minutes or an hour to get more house, so they come down here. That's what puts the pressure on prices in our market here. And not to get off the subject too far, but what's happening is we're starting to see listings coming on the market that are way underpriced, some way overpriced, some way underpriced, and it's always agents from outside the area. And I know it sounds self-serving. I don't care whether you list with me or one of my agents or go to one of my competitors, Lori Holt or Michelle Goslin. They know the market. But I'm consistently seeing some of these companies, and I can't name them, but they're out advertising on TV, and they're discounting their commissions. And yeah, you might have saved a little bit on the commission, but you left $150,000 on the table because you underpriced the house. And I'm seeing that happen quite frequently.
Wow. More so than a year ago?
Yes, because I think that people are they're focusing on finding the agent that will give them the lowest commission and not necessarily the agent who's the most qualified to sell their home. So they, and sadly, they sell their home. Oh, wow, I put my home on at $499 and it went under contract in 2 days. Isn't that great? Well, it should have been priced at $650 and it might have taken 30 or 45 days, but they left, they might have saved $5,000 on the commission, but they left $150 on the table. And that's, again, it sounds self-serving, but whether it's me, one of my agents, or another good longtime agent, that's who you need to list your home with.
You got to have a brokerage with solid local insight and experience that really, really knows what they're doing right here. The structure of the family is something that you and I have also talked about in the past, and that there's been a shift, and you can point that shift at COVID or maybe not. Maybe it's just the housing market in general, but it just seems like it's changed. We're seeing more and more people having their moms and dads and other relatives move into the basement, and that we need to finish the basement because we need to get our relatives in and share a roof. Are you still seeing that trend?
Oh yeah, multi-generational households. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think some of it's the price of real estate. It's made it hard for people to buy a home, shortage of inventory in the entry level, and just the economy. I mean, there's full unemployment, and then there's, a lot of people are underemployed. They have a job, but they're not making as much money as they could because they couldn't get a job that was commensurate necessarily with the skills they have.
Right.
Which is a problem across all of northern New England. It's not just a central Vermont problem.
First-time home buyers, folks that are renting and would love to get out, what kind of incentives does Vermont have for people that are in that category that might be able to make the jump?
It really varies by lender. I mean, I know there's certain banks are offering programs from the Federal Home Loan Bank for first-time buyers that buy like multifamily properties. We just sold property on Summer Street. The buyer is a two-family. The buyer is going to live in the first floor, and through a special program, he got a rate below 5%, which was just astounding. So, it varies. It changes from time to time. And that's why being connected with a good lender is important.
Who do you recommend?
Well, I like the ones that have been around a long time. They're not necessarily the sexy online lenders, but I like Community National Bank. I like Union Bank. I like Northfield Savings Bank. There's a few others in the area, but a lot depends on the person, not necessarily the loan officer, not necessarily the company, because it takes a lot of experience. There's a shortage of good loan officers because it's so hard to learn all the programs and all the rules and regulations.
What about what about getting your real estate license? How challenging is that? Is that something that's really achievable and reachable?
Yeah, I'd say the bar's too low, honestly.
Really?
Well, and when you get your license, so you go get your license today, and I've had mine for 30 plus years. So like, who do you really want to work with? I mean, it's really a license to learn. So, the best agents learned under somebody. Like, I was fortunate enough my first year, I worked with Brad Chenette and Nancy Jenkins, and Nancy was the number one agent in Vermont for years and still one of the top agents. And I learned more from her in a year than I could have figured out on my own 20 years stumbling around. I was working up in Burlington with her. I would have stayed with her, but I was doing all my business down here. So, we're still friends to this day.
Yeah.
But, if you're a new agent, you really need to be with somebody that can teach you the ropes, somebody that you can bounce things. I mean, Linda was lots of good example. She when she got into real estate, Marcia really coached and mentored her. And now I've continued to do that. And she is turned into a top-notch agent, because she's open, willing to learn, doesn't think she has all the answers.
What a way to be. Tell me about this. I want to spotlight this property that you've got as a listing right now over in Northfield. And the advantages to living in a condo. This is a beautiful property.
Well, I'm excited about this one because we we don't have in Central Vermont a lot of entry level properties, and it's 2-bedroom, 1-bath, townhouse style. I think it's under 1,000 square feet, but $230,000. I mean, honestly, you're hard pressed to buy a mobile home these days for for that kind of money. So I'm excited about it. It's a nice end unit. The sellers took my advice. They went through. They had a home inspector come in, go through. They, took care of any issues that came up in the home inspection, so somebody can move in there with confidence and, really not have to do a lot.
Look at the land.
There's 4 acres with it. It's a beautiful park-like setting, but yet it's an easy drive to the grocery store downtown Northfield.
Sure. Showing the pictures right now.
Yeah, it's a nice property. It's all been painted and redone. It's beautiful.
And where exactly is this?
So it's off of Route 12 going north of Northfield. You go through the village and past the grocery store, and it's a right-hand turn past there. It's up back behind the grocery store.
And how many units do we have available?
There's 8 units in the complex and 1 unit available right now.
One, and that's the one that we're showing the inside of right now. Wow.
Unit 8.
Beautiful. I'm just look at that.
No, so for somebody that, looking for a starter home, I mean, honestly, the financials work for somebody that has a kid at Norwich for 4 years. Because the way rents are.
Yeah. Wow, great point. Beautiful floors. I mean, clean. This is nice. Really nice.
Yeah, so call me. Someone to go see it.
Yeah. just go do a walkthrough. No pressure. I mean, just have a look at this. And so this is a condo.
Yes.
So someone else is mowing the lawn here, or
someone else is mowing the lawn, someone else is doing the exterior maintenance. Yeah.
Wow. That's a big lawn, man.
Well, yeah.
My goodness.
And the condo fees are cheap. I mean, a lot of places condo fees will be $300, $400, $500 a month. These are, I think, $176 a month. That includes your trash and insurance and plowing, mowing.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Just going to comment here. That pricing thing that you're speaking of is two-way street. If people are comfortable at listing at $499 and want a quick sale as opposed to $615 and waiting 1 to 2 months for a contract. And that says it all.
Yeah, everyone's circumstances are different, but I mean, I've seen a consistent pattern of typically underpricing, significantly underpricing happening, especially in the entry-level market.
We have heard a lot lately from the governor's office about the notion of kind of changing things up with how it's been since COVID of people working from home.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just talking about state employees. There's been a shift, and it's a shift that has done well for businesses and done well in certain situations, and in other areas we've learned that this is not the type of employee that needs to be working from home. We need them in the office. But there's others that have flourished and done very well with that. But it's an interesting shift. And now we hear from the governor's office that we could be shifting back more to the office.
Mm-hmm.
How does this affect commercial real estate? What say you about all of this?
I don't know if it affects commercial real estate because the state already has a bunch of properties. They certainly have capacity for people to come back to work in the office. And I mean, I think it's a good idea. I think we've been a little spoiled being able to work from home. And with, I'm sure there's some rare exceptions of people that can be more productive working at home. But the reality is you're more productive in the office, and it's the little things. You need a piece of information. You can stick your head in someone's door in their office and ask the question and go about your day, as opposed to sending a text or an email. I think people miss the camaraderie of being in the office. I mean, I personally wouldn't love working at home and being, away from people all the time. So it's probably a good thing. I mean, I know some local businesses, I won't name them, but that their employees were working remotely during COVID, and they work on billable hours, and same clients they've had for 15, 20, 25 years. And all of a sudden the hours were, 30% higher to get the same amount of work done. Now, these owners didn't pass that along to their clients because they knew historically what it had been, but clearly not as productive. And also, we were talking about like getting a real estate license and learning. You aren't going to learn anything in any business at home. You're going to learn, if you're new to something, you're going to learn being in the office and being able to hear what's going on and talk to people.
Are you hoping that there's going to be more commercial properties that are going to be available, or do you feel that there are already plenty that are in beautiful shape and move-in ready?
Well, there aren't that many that are in beautiful shape that are move-in ready. I mean, we have old housing stock. We have an old commercial stock. We don't have enough warehouse space by far. I think right now we're a little heavy on retail and office space, but if the trend that's happening continues nationwide and people start coming back into the office, hopefully that'll take care of itself a little bit.
What other offices does BCK have?
Well, at one time we had 14 offices across 3 states, and I'm happy that we're down to 3 offices. So we've got Wetmore Real Estate in Woodstock, and we've got Winhall Real Estate down in Stratton.
Stratton.
Yeah.
And you were over in Maine, right?
We were in Maine and New Hampshire, yeah. Yeah, I put a lot of miles in my car.
I can only imagine. And now how many?
Just 3.
Just 3. Okay. But still, Central Vermont's top choice for home sales for the last, 6 years? Something like that?
How many?
6 years? 7 years?
How about since 1981?
Since 81?
I dare say no company sold, no one sold more real estate than we have since 1981.
Wow.
We have a website, bcksales.com, that shows all our sales over the years. In fact, I need to update. I haven't put the 2025 sales on yet.
Why is pre-approval something that is so critical? It's so important. I'm guessing that you've had folks come through the door and you've had to turn them around and said, let's begin at the beginning here. Get pre-approved so that we can get to a lender so that we can know, we can kind of refine what we're looking at here.
Well, it's huge. Pre-approval is huge. And it's because you can go online and you can fill out a form and get a pre-approval, it'll say pre-approval letter, but they haven't run your credit report. They haven't verified you have the deposit. They haven't verified your employment. So the letter isn't really worth the paper it's printed on. So it's important that you have a true pre-approval, not just a pre-qualification letter where they've pulled your credit. They verified your income, your employment. And so you can buy with confidence and the sellers can sell to you with confidence, knowing that you're likely to get your mortgage.
And then sit down with you and your staff and design a strategy, what you're looking for.
I mean, I would, unless you know you've got a good lender, I would at least start with us asking which lenders you should consider going to. Find out how much you can afford.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what you can afford and what you want to pay are two different things, and that's okay.
Yeah. Bridging that gap, though, is critical. It's important to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the $1 million question, and I've heard it from friends, is how my God, how much I'm paying $1,300 a month. Can I afford to buy? Can I afford to get out from underneath a rental? Is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, rents have gone up so much. I mean, rents have probably gone up as much or more on a percentage basis than houses. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you're just paying somebody else's mortgage, renting. And I'm not saying that renting's bad because, some people, they should rent. If you don't know for certain you're going to be in an area for at least 5 years, you probably shouldn't buy a house. If you don't have the time or the lifestyle to want to take care of a house, then you shouldn't buy a house. You should rent. So it's just a lifestyle choice. But if you know you're going to be in the area and you've got a stable job and you want to build some equity,
Yeah,
and you want to have the pride of owning a home, which is hard to put a tangible value on, but buy a house.
yeah. And I want to ask you about the picking, of course. I think one of the last times I had you in here, listings were few and far between. There just weren't that many.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm seeing BCK signs more and more now. So we're picking up with.
There's
with
more
that?
listings. There's 15 listings in Berry City this morning, which again is not a lot. So there's a few in each price range, whereas, year and a half ago, we might just have like a few listings and maybe one in each price range if you're lucky.
Yeah.
There's 25 single family homes in Berrytown on the market right now. I mean, back in, the day in the early 2000s, it wasn't unusual to have, 50 properties in the market, in Berry City and Berrytown on the market. That was normal. It took, 6 to 9 months to sell. A lot of times that was a normal thing. This stuff, selling in a few days, that's not normal.
Yeah. Interesting. BCKRealestate.com to see some of the listings. Of course, you can always walk right up to the glass on North Main Street and have a look.
That is one of the advantages of having a storefront.
Sure. Yeah. Want to ask you about Steve McKenzie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you had a chance to see him yesterday. He popped in here, and
I did.
We got him on the couch, and he was breaking the news about the J.J. Newberry building right down the road here, a building that you are very familiar with. You have spent your whole life right here in Central Vermont. So before we go into that, what memories do you have of the J.J. Newberry building? Well,
I didn't spend my whole life here. My wife grew up here, but I've been here since '95. But I mean, it was operating when we moved back here. It went out of business shortly thereafter, and it's been just getting worse and worse, kind of a blight on Main Street ever since. So, thank goodness for people like Steve, to pull something like that together and do it. I think that, I struggled with it. They're even though they've gotten the price reduced, they're paying top dollar for it, and you hate to reward owners that haven't necessarily been the most favorable stewards of Berry City, but the the pros outweigh the cons, and I think sometimes you just have to hold your nose and do it. And I think it's going to be long term. It's going to be very, very beneficial. We're lucky to have Steve on it. They don't have a written agreement yet. I probably personally wouldn't have gone public with it yet, because I know how things can fall apart when they get down to writing. Because it's like, oh, what do you mean you want this? Oh, well, I assumed that was part. Oh, well, no, that wasn't my idea. And so, fingers crossed they get a written agreement soon.
Yeah. He's feeling pretty optimistic that it'll come before the end of the year. We'll have a purchase and sales agreement.
I mean, thank goodness Steve's working on it. I mean, Steve, he was head of the school board. He's
smart guy.
Negotiated a lot of contracts. I mean, if anybody can get, and he has such patience. He doesn't get rattled or excited, and that's easy to do in situations like this.
Yeah. And we shouldn't just say Steve, but all of BADC. They've really taken the bull by the horns here and said, we're going to try to, and I thought it was kind of a tall order, to be honest with you, that we're going to try to put some money together and have our community pitch in to buy this property.
Yeah, I know. And Carl Rinker first approached me about it. I was like, oh, how are you gonna do that? But I mean, over the years, we've seen that Barre people, particularly business owners, are pretty generous, and they're pretty community oriented. So I'm not really completely surprised, especially when you got people like Carl and Steve, who've been around for years and have done so much. When they come and ask you to do something. I mean, Steve came to me twice before I donated.
Did he threaten to put you in a chokehold?
No, he threatened to not give Lily biscuits when he came in.
Ooh, that's worse. That's worse. But yeah, point well made there that businesses around here are very passionate about making our city better. And that has been more than an eyesore. It's been an eyesore, yes, for a long time. But it's more than that. It's wasted space that really could be serving a great purpose here. Not just tax revenue, but just bringing something new to Barre.
Honestly, even if they tore it down and put parking in, I mean, you can't.
Thank you for saying that.
One of the big assets we have in Barre is we have parking.
Yep.
I mean, it's a big deal. So I'm sure they'll probably won't just do parking there, but
well, they're saying green space for a couple of years.
Yeah, so. but if ultimately all it ended up as being parking, that's still a win, and it's not going to be ugly.
Yeah. We know that if we can get this closing out of the way, that the next stage, as Steve said, was all of the permitting and the testing of the environmental stuff for that building has to be really determined before we start going in there with bulldozers and taking that building down. And this is going to be a process. And this is, frankly, probably going to test some patience of our residents here. This takes time to cut through all this red tape.
Oh, yeah. But the good news is Steve's been through it before. I mean, when we did City Place in 2018-19, it was 3 buildings, 60 apartments, and they were all wood frame. But, I mean, everything got tested, all the paint, the windows, you name it, the ground, before they could do anything. In the old days, they would have called in the fire department and just burned them down. But can't do that anymore.
Training. Yeah. Got a comment here. The high rental prices discourage a lot of new businesses, unfortunately, if renting and renovation is even an option. Any response to that?
Talking about residential rentals? Yeah, I mean, I think that's a problem statewide. The cost of, even home ownership and the cost as a percentage of income in Vermont's high. And that is a challenge, and you throw on top of, some of the difficult regulatory environment that we have here. It's hard to get businesses to come here. I remember going out to Las Vegas, a huge commercial convention that they have out there, where all the franchises and chains and national companies were there, and every person I talked to was like, "Oh, it's too hard to get permits in Vermont. I don't want to come to Vermont," and that was discouraging, to hear that. So we've got a lot of things to work on besides just rental prices. I think, the state's trying to make some initiatives to create more housing, and that's good.
Yeah. And business rentals?
Business rentals, really depends. I mean, there's certainly space available. People need space.
Yeah. What would you like to see go in the J.J. Newberry space?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't,
5 years from now.
haven't really thought that hard about it. I mean,
I say
anything, a piece of bare dirt's improvement over what's there now.
outdoor skating rink?
I don't know.
Indoor roller
I
skating
don't know.
rink?
No, I don't know.
No? Come on, man. I'll go in on that with you.
I'll have to think more about it. But.
Finally, this morning, and I love the fact that you're in here, and I love having this conversation with you, and we should do it more frequently.
Yes, we should.
Let's talk about the Marcia B. Foundation.org.
Yeah.
That's the site that more and more people should. I'm going to drop it in the link here. Tell me about this. Your wife, Marcia, was an amazing lady who loved and supported her community far beyond ways that were always visible to others, and really embraced real change for kids. Wanted something great for children in our community beyond the classroom. Tell me about this.
Well, we're still in the fundraising stages. So, that's kind of where we're at. We want to build it up to an amount that's significant enough to do something that's meaningful.
Yeah. What schools are we talking about for maybe after school programs?
Barry Town for sure. Barry City. Barry was always our focus and Marcia's focus. I mean, she did a lot just under the radar. I mean, there are a lot of kids that really didn't have a lot of guidance at home. They'd be at our house. And I mean, there were kids she took to do their college visits because their parents just weren't around or weren't interested to do it. And I think a couple girls in particular that ended up doing extremely well, going into good schools and now have great careers. And she didn't really toot her own horn much about that, but she helped a lot of people like that, just kind of quietly, wasn't looking for accolades or praise.
Oh. One more time, MarciaBFoundation.org. Get on there. Learn more about it. Make a donation. Be part of that movement as it continues to grow. And, of course, I can rely on you and Sam to keep me updated on progress.
Well, they do have the new park over at St. Monica's they named after her.
Yeah.
The playground.
Yeah. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you before we close out this morning about Summer Street and the new space, the new housing space that's being proposed and going to be, looks like it's going to have a ribbon cut here at some point soon. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't know a ton about it. I'm not overly excited about it. I mean, I think we need housing, and we need low and moderate income housing, but we need regular, affordable workforce housing too. And I'd rather see us focusing on that.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I mean, I'm going to be controversial. I'm concerned about the new career center.
Go ahead.
Well, it's a big ticket, 149 million, and it's going to have an impact on people's taxes. And I think the location in the middle of a neighborhood on the top of a hill in Graniteville's a bad idea. I'm all for vocational training. I think we need it desperately. I just think that with the consolidation that's going to be happening in the schools, there's going to be some of these school campuses that are going to be available that could be redeveloped, and that building a new building on that scale is really not sustainable here in Central Vermont. But again, don't get me wrong. We need vocational training very badly. It's very important.
Yeah, we have a couple of industries that we need to shift gears. We need a bigger, broader workforce, and not just the building trades, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
All of them.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming in here, man.
Well, my pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having
me. Let's do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Will I ever be able to sit down with Linda?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to have you talk to Linda.
Maybe I'll come over to the office one of these days, chat with Linda. Thanks for coming in here, John.
Sure, thank you.
John Biondolillo, BCK Real Estate. Been around for generations and will be for generations more. If you're even remotely thinking about commercial real estate, residential real estate, buying, selling, you got questions of what kind of market it is and what's happening. It's always fluctuating. Come in and speak with a team that's really dialed into it, has professional insight of what's going on locally, which is so important. Nationally, yes, but locally, that's what's so important. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Good job. See you soon.